Between Life and Death by Jaclyn. Chapter 21. One kiss. That was it. Just one. I could do it. I could. I cow. The thick door slammed with the ferocity of a crack of thunder, shattering my pep talk, and locking me in the private chambers, which, to my horror, was not like the other private rooms. This one had a bed adorned in plush, expensive-looking furs, and a floor covered in candles, their flickering flames providing a dim, sultry light. To my right, a doorway with drapes gathered on each side created a narrow passage to another room. Steam sifted between the drapes, slowly seeping in, a wandering hand claiming new territory. Gag. "You can come in," said a male voice, a voice belonging to the advisor of the king. I sucked in my lips but quickly released them, remembering the venom they were coated in. Slowly, I walked towards the door, my fingers gently brushing aside the fabric as I ducked inside. His muscular, tanned arms draped over the sides of the tub, his gaze briefly drifting over the curves of my body before he settled those wandering eyes on mine. Part of me wanted to recoil, to regroup, to leave, but the stronger part of me, the warrior, the woman, stood my ground. I would play the part, get the information, and leave. "Do you want me to join you?" said a sensual voice. My voice? Where it came from, I didn't know. Without moving his arm, his finger raised, pointing to the private bar that was positioned behind me. "I'd prefer a drink. What would you like?" I asked, my tone honey sweet. "Surprise me," he said, that charismatic charm long gone, although his voice was not unpleasant or unkind. I nodded softly, turned, and moved to the private bar. Various crystal decanters of all shapes and sizes were placed neatly on the wood top, 2 crystal glasses placed in front of them. I thought I heard him suck in a breath when I turned. I rolled my eyes, not appreciating his inspection of my rear assets. "Your hair color is quite unusual for someone your age," he remarked. I reached for the decanter with the dark amber liquid, and poured a knuckle's worth inside. "I was born with it," I said as I returned the topper to the crystal decanter. "You can have something, if you'd like," he offered, his pleasantry catching me off guard. "I don't drink," I lied, not wanting to sample my own poison. "Water or tea, perhaps?" I shook my head. "No thank you. I wouldn't want to ruin my lip gloss." Wasn't that the truth? I walked to the side of the steaming tub, and offered him the glass. His long fingers wrapped around it as he peered at its contents. A low chuckle left his lips. "I've never cared for whiskey." "My apologies. I can get you something else," I offered, my hands reaching for the cup. But he retracted it out of reach. An amused grin slid onto his face as he said, "It's all right. I live by one rule." "What's that?" I asked, my arms wrapping around my torso. "I finish what I start." He downed the glass. His muscles flexed as he lowered his arm outside the tub and placed the cup on the wood floor. "How old are you?" he asked, his brow furrowing as he examined my face, searching. 22, I replied. By reflex, I asked, "How old are you?" "I have a few years on you," he responded with a wink. "I do not mean to offend, my lord, but you look rather young to be the king's advisor." "No offense taken," he replied, his tone nonchalant. "I have been judged by my youthful looks on more than one occasion." I nodded, gesturing to his empty cup. "Would you like me to get you something else? Trying to ply me with alcohol?" "No, just poison." To my horror, I nearly said it out loud. "Shit. No, I just thought you might like another. I just barely slipped in." "Where were you born?" His brow dipped inquisitively. The question was random, but I presumed this was his attempt at small talk. "Lie," a voice coaxed in my mind. "I don't know the place of my birth," I replied honestly, too honestly. "Do you not have living parents to tell you?" "Lie," the voice demanded this time. "I never met them." I had no control over my tongue. I was starting to feel lightheaded, a bit drunk even, like I was the one who had shot back that glass of whiskey, not him. "Then who raised you?" he inquired further, his gaze piercing. "A woman who took me in." I nearly clamped my hands over my traitorous mouth. I'd clearly poisoned myself with Ezra's truth tonic. I needed to direct the questions to him before he delved any further. "I don't mean to sound rude, but is my history what you brought me here for?" "I would rather your history than to sit here alone with my thoughts," he replied as he leaned back against the tub, relaxing in the steaming waters. "I don't understand. I presumed you would want to do other things." I dared to lift my gaze to his, allowing just the right amount of lust to saturate my eyes. He ran his fingers through his wild, red hair. "I come here because it is the only place I can get some peace from the steady workings of the castle." "Then you don't," he cut me off. "No, I come here to these private rooms for peace, and in exchange, I play the part, select one of you. But then I do not ask for any services. Ever." Most of the girls sleep while I sit alone with my thoughts. But the madam, she thinks you, how doesn't she know? My coffers run a lot deeper than hers. I offer the girls a good deal of coin for their silence, and they play along. Over time, their stories have spun the belief that I like a certain scent, a specific hair color, that I have a type. He looked like he might roll his eyes. I was almost starting to feel bad about what I was going to do to him. Although with this new admission, kissing him was becoming a bigger obstacle than I originally thought it would be. So when they doused me in the scent of roses and gardenia, that was for nothing. I asked as I sat on the edge of the tub. He chuckled. I find the white gardenia flower quite pleasant, but I'm not a fan of the scent of roses, and the preference for brunettes? I find blondes and brunettes equally attractive, but, he leaned forward, the water sloshing to the sides. Thick, calloused fingers gently grasped one of my curls. This unique color, I hold a particular fondness for. Whoa? I asked. He nodded, letting the curl slip from his fingers, and leaned back against the metal tub. It reminds me of someone I once knew. Where is this person now? I asked, unable to stop myself. She is no longer of this world, her memory a ghost, always haunting me, he said, his chest expanding as he inhaled a deep, steady breath. I could sense the yearning in him, for this woman who I thought might be a past lover of his, and if I wore her hair, perhaps I could use this power over him. My vision was becoming cloudy, although my purpose was clear. With my gaze on him, I slowly dipped my foot into the water, testing to see what he would do. He watched. He didn't say no. Slowly, I lowered myself into the grand tub. The girth of it easily accommodated 2 people. What are you doing? He asked, his gaze meeting mine. I'm freeing you from your ghost, if only for a moment. I crawled towards him, the water overflowing, splashing on the floor. You don't have to, he said, although his wandering eyes said otherwise. I placed a gentle finger on his lips before I removed it and brought my face to his, and for a moment, we looked into one another's eyes, 2 desperate souls yearning to bring a lost loved one home. I closed my eyes and brought my mouth to his. I pretended I was kissing Vaughn, that it was his steely, tattooed body underneath mine, and dear gods, it was hot. I lost myself in it, convinced it was him. What's your name anyway? I asked a short while later, a giggle bubbling up on my swollen lips. Arkin, the king's advisor replied, as he studied his pruned fingers, water dripping down the length of his forearm. He brought his fingers closer to his face, as if it would allow him to get a better look. Arkin, I tested the 2 syllables, smacking my lips, at the end for added emphasis. I felt giddy, blissful, and increasingly drunk. Holy dancing bananas, did Ezra's tonic pack a punch? My mood instantly changed. I felt frustrated, especially with myself. I was supposed to be doing something. I was supposed to be. You are quite easy on the eyes. I cooed as I looked at him, not caring that I'd blurted another secret out. He dropped his hand in the tub, and we both laughed as if it were the funniest thing we had ever seen. He did it again, and we laughed some more. You look so much like her, and yet, something is off, he slurred. Like a veil has been conjured over top. Your features are distorted, like I can't see the real you. What? I hiccuped. His words made as much sense as my fragmented thoughts. Footsteps came thundering into the room. It hurt my ears, it was too loud. Hands gripped my shoulders as a voice, Harper's voice, filled my mind. Are you okay? I've been looking everywhere for you. I'm fine. I tried to tap her nose but failed, and my hand fell back into the water. My head swiveled towards Arkin, our gazes meeting, and we both started to laugh. We have to get you out of here, Harper said as she wrapped her arm around my torso and hoisted me up. My legs felt like 2 limp noodles, incredibly floppy, soggy, overcooked noodles, the thin, long kind. An older couple sold them at the market. What did they call it again? I thought about it hard, pushing my brain to its limits. I grinned. Ah yes, that was it. Spaghetti, I cried out triumphantly, nodding in satisfaction. Come on, Sage, work with me, Harper said as she continued to heave. You there, brown-haired girl? Tell me, do you see a veil on her? Arkin asked, shaking his head as if he were seeing double. I didn't catch Harper's reply because my body felt heavy and my head was. Oh, my poor noodle legs. I jerked my head up, an important thought occurring. Wait, did anyone bring the sauce? Apparently it is best served with sauce. Okay then, Harper said as she dragged me away from the tub. What about Arky boy? I protested. I'm fine. You can haunt me tomorrow, but only if you take off the veil, he slurred, a splash of water sounding behind me. I'll deal with him, Harper said as she half led, half dragged me to the bed. I fell into a cloud of warm, furry sheets, so soft they felt like heaven, even though they were sticking to my wet skin. My body shivered, although I did not feel cold, or at least, I did not think I was cold. How could spaghetti be cold? I could faintly hear Harper and Arkin's voices, but they were little more than a buzz within my whirring mind. I blocked out the swirling ceiling by closing my eyes. I wanted to sleep, to float carefree among the land of dreams, away from my nightmares, weightless and free, like a feather floating on the breath of the wind. Up and up and up. A strong, sturdy gust lifted me higher. I knew it was him, my windstorm, carrying me away.